Okay, I don't know. This is not CBC. This is CTV. Same thing. Who's that reporter? Derek Haggett. Never heard of him. But again, it's a reporter from Moncton with fake news. Wait a minute. So again, the story is homelessness in Moncton, all right? Which there's no such thing as a homeless person. I mean, if you find a person.
Hundreds are left in the cold tonight as shelters in the Moncton area are at capacity. And as the temperature falls below zero, there's a growing urgency to help those in need. CTV's Derek Haggett has more.
Now, I listened to it. I'm sorry, I listened to it already. And of course, just like the CBC, I would ask the question, are they going to mention crystal meth? That's the issue, crystal meth. Okay, I'll try to calm down.
Two frontline workers who deal with the city's homeless issue on a daily basis had a grim message at a city council meeting in Moncton this afternoon. Father Chris Van Buskirk of St. George's Anglican Church and Trevor Greater Moncton YMCA revealed there are more than 500 people living on the streets right now. And that's not counting the roughly 160 people at the city's two shelters. Both believe it's a humanitarian crisis.
100%. He has a fine line that he said in there is if this was cats and dogs outside, the general public would have lost their minds.
Cats and dogs, the general public will lose their mind. They're trying, like they tried to do here at the Phoenix Learning Center. There's a fine example. It was cold, the old Jehovah Witness building, and they wanted to change that into a shelter to help metheads. And what happened? They destroyed the area. It's destruction. You don't believe me? Go on Queen Street tonight, across the old post office. There's a guy that settled there. You see a big sleeping bag, and there's the biggest mess, the biggest glasses, everything. And I'm sure that's going to be there for about a week because it's their territory and they have rights, and the police are not allowed to do it, and the city don't seem to clean it. But anyway, let's continue here.
In outrage, and it's human beings, and no one seems to be batting an eye.
So 556 individuals.
Oh, by the way, he's an Anglican. I have to say this. Never mind all bad news. Let's have some good news. I remember I seen two Anglican priests at Tim Horton. This was about 10 years ago. They had the collar, dressed in blue. And I said, I sat down. I said, excuse me, can I sit down for a minute? They said, go ahead. They were in their 40s, 50s. I said, what religion are you? Anglican. Anglican? I said, what's the difference between Anglican and Catholics? They look the same. He looks at me, he says, we love sex. Touche. End of conversation. Slam dunk. It was over. Anyway, what does he got to say?
On the street, plus those who have shelter beds tonight.
Van Buskirk told council he fears people will stumble over frozen bodies this winter if a city building is not repurposed as a shelter.
It's very frustrating because the province has this $750 million surplus. And to sit back and say, we're looking for a community-led solution.
Community-led solution. Did you hear me? Community-led solution. That means the community with the politician get together with the so-called advocate. Can you say so-called doctor, Sarah Davidson? Get together and say, all right, enough is enough. Enough is enough. We're going to change the Mental Health Act, Section 10. Once we see, like tonight, there's about 20 out there They're totally out of control. They're screaming, they're hollering, they're destroying everything. We're going to grab them. We're going to put them in a mental health ward, and they'll be released once a committee or a team says they're ready and they want to seek help. That's a community mind approach. All right? But no, that's not what. They never even mentioned Crystal Met yet.
Is not enough.
A spokesperson for the Department of Social Development told CTV News details are still being finalized for extreme weather measures across the province, including an emergency cold shelter in Moncton.
I meet with social development every week to talk about this and to express our concern about the numbers and what's happening in our community right now. It is absolutely critical.
Goodwin said the province has stepped up.
I'm working with them. We have part of the solution, which is a stabilization shelter that's happening this winter, but it's not enough.
Father Chris kept the doors of his church open last year as an emergency overnight shelter, but he won't be doing the same thing this year. However, he will be keeping the church open from 6 to 9 p.m. on certain nights. That way people can come in, grab a sandwich and a hot cup of coffee before they head out into the cold night. Derek Haggett, CTV News, Moncton.
Father's not stupid. They're not going to do that again. You got to keep metheads overnight. It's just destruction. And I said it before and I'll say it again. Walmart Church, you better be careful. Because it's not the same property as 10 years ago or 3 years ago. It's not the same. These people do not appreciate what you do. And when you go there on a Wednesday or whatever Sunday, you give a meal to everybody, make sure that you see all the openings. And make sure it's sealed. Because these people are going to distract you. Go in there. Once it's closed, they'll be hidden somewhere. And next thing you know, there'll be total destruction, or they even burn the place down. We're not dealing with humans here. And I hate to say it. I mean, it's true. The OG is not stupid. Every time he sees Debbie Barnes, he sees 40 drunks, he doesn't say a goddamn word. Maybe it's because he's used to be around me all the time. But no, focus, Charles. But the bottom line here is they can't be helped. They said put in a concrete building and put a toilet, but that's called prison. And look at guys like Robbie and McDonald. It's just a revolving door, and they don't keep them long. There's no treatment for them in jail, which they should. So a community mind approach would be to change the Mental Health Act. That's the community mind approach. Change the Section 10 of the Mental Health Act, and you know what? You might save New Brunswick. Again, why do I get involved in these things? Why?